Hey, what is going on, Taurus? Butch Tarot here. I am going to do your November monthly read. It is a general read because it's the monthly read is from now to the end of November. It is for your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus. For all your cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. And with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what message do we have for Taurus for November 2025? All right, Taurus. So first thing, I feel like there's someone that's been thinking a lot about you, and I feel like this starts off in a friendship, but I feel like there's definitely something else going on here. I definitely feel this connection with you and this person. And it feels deeper than a friendship, but I feel like it does start off in a friendship. Now, for some of you, this may be someone you already know, and for others, it may be someone coming in. Like I said, it is for the whole month of November. I feel like if this is someone you already know, chances are you're gonna feel this. You may already be thinking you know who it is. If that's the case, then it's someone you already met, because like I said, I don't feel like you're gonna be able to miss this one. Trust your intuition. I see somebody. Got a lot of tens. Got a lot of tens. We have the Ten of Wands. I feel like this is someone. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to keep their feelings, from you. But I feel like this person, like they just feel comfortable with you. And I feel like they're putting in a lot of work because they want the most from this. They're putting in a lot of work to keep their feelings from you in the beginning, because I feel like they want the most from it. I feel like this person, from the moment you met, they were all in. But they didn't tell you that. They're not going to tell you that right away. We have, with the Fool card, we have the, with the Hermit, I feel like this person is doing a lot of thinking, mostly on how lucky they feel, how lucky they feel to have met you, how lucky to have you. But like I said, this is why this person isn't necessarily gonna, jump right in there. I feel like there's, the Nine of Swords, they don't want to screw this up. This means something to them, and they don't want to screw it up. They feel really connected to you, and like I said, they're looking at the negatives instead of the positives when it comes to really jumping into this. They really want to jump into this, but there's also that part of them where it's like, they just want to take it slow. They want to, they're thinking about stability. They're thinking about this being long-term, and that's how they see this. With the Four of Pentacles, like I said, the Five of Cups, they're seeing the negatives instead of the positives when it comes to really jumping too quickly into this. But like I said, with the Four of Pentacles, they're looking for, excuse me, they're looking for stability here. You know, they want to build something, so they're doing it in a logical way, which I don't really feel like this is their forte from what I'm seeing here. But they're trying really hard. I mean, they're putting a lot of effort, like I said, with that Ten of Wands. With that King of Cups, I mean, they see this as something that they see this as something that can be, you know, something much more. With the Eight of Cups in reverse, like I said, this is not where they see this going. You know, friendship is not the end of this. This is only the beginning. You know, with the Eight of Cups, I feel like this connection, I do see a shift coming. You know, we also, like I said, I just feel like you have this, I mean, obviously there's a really strong physical connection, but I feel like you have great communication as well. You know, just really getting to know each other, taking their time, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, that type of energy. They don't want to screw this up by rushing, is what I'm seeing. You know, not really looking for that. I mean, they, you know, they just enjoy being with you. They enjoy your time. They enjoy just being around you. But they know what they want. You know, with that King of Wands and that Queen of Wands, you know, they just see you as someone they can enjoy their life with. You know, and I feel like this person, it's a very passionate connection, very fiery. And like I said, it's a lot of work for this person to keep their hands off you. You know, but like I said, I mean, this is where I see it going. I mean, we have that Aries Leo energy. Let me look into this a little bit more. I want to... Taurus, tell me some more. I don't feel like we got enough. I mean, I feel like you fill their cups. As far as they can see, you fill their cups. And they want to see how far this goes. And like I said, they don't want to toxify it by rushing into it. Let's see what else we got here. Universe, give us 3 cards for Taurus. Let's clarify this a little bit. Yeah, okay. This just tells me what I figured it was going to tell me. So we have the Four of Wands. They want to build a foundation, a strong foundation. You know, but they're fighting the urge. They're fighting the urge. Like, I mean, you know, it's like being on a diet and somebody puts a big old juicy hamburger in front of you. You know, and you want it real bad. But you're fighting the urge. You know, fighting the temptation with the devil. You know, and I'm gonna get one more. Yeah, like I said, I mean, they're fantasizing about this with the Page of Cups. They're fantasizing about you. They're fantasizing about being with you in multiple different scenarios. But that internal struggle not to give into temptation and really see this through. They don't want to, like I said, they don't want to toxify it. They don't want to dilute the water. They want to get to know you. They want you to get to know them. They see this as a lifelong connection. Like I said, with that 10 of Cups we were talking about in the beginning. Let me go back to this here. 10 of Cups is feeling comfortable. It's that feeling of home. And that's everything they want. You know, they want all of it. They want all of you. And they want you to have all of them. But they don't want to ruin it by rushing this. You know, I feel like that's their biggest fear, is to rush this. They're taking their time. So trust your intuition when it comes to this person, because I feel like the feelings are strong, and I feel like you're going to feel it. Now, like I said, for some of you, you may already know this person. You might already feel like there's something going on between you. But trust your intuition. You're going to know. You know, your intuition is going to tell you. And like I said, if you already know this person, this is going to be clarification, and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Excuse me. But trust me, it's not easy for them to fight and hold back. There's a lot of connection, a lot of physical connection here. I'm still not satisfied. Yeah, I mean, we got the Three of Pentacles and we got the Nine of Pentacles. You know, I feel like this person's always kind of been by themselves, but now they see this, now they see a partnership they want to be a part of. You know, I feel like they always did well on their own. They were really looking for anybody else, but now, you know, they see that power couple energy, and they don't want to screw it up. You know, sometimes in relationships, especially when we have feeling for someone, and this is a lot of intense physical energy, like I said, you know, giving into that can ruin something. You know, sometimes we rush into things and we can't undo them. So it's almost like taking their intense and physical energy and taking, no pun intended, the bull by the horns. You know, kind of reining it back. And it's hard for them. Trust me when I say that. That's what I see. It's hard for this person to hold back. They're taking it slow, but you get more and more of them as we move forward. And like I said, the connection will become more and more clear. And it'll all start making sense. I know this is a little bit off, you know, off kilter, but what I see is someone that is already invested. You know, they see you, they fantasize about you. They see this as being something that can be real and lifelong. You know, they feel that real connection with you. And like I said, they don't want to screw it up. You know, they want to be your friend. They want to get to know you. But that's not where this ends. That's where it begins. You know, they have this incredible connection, and they want to see it through. They're being very logical about this, and it's hard for them because I don't feel like logic is usually their forte, like I said before. Now, with this person, I mean, we have Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I mean, we do have some Scorpio and Cancer. Possibly even some Pisces. Just because someone isn't grabbing you and you know, just jumping your bones doesn't mean they don't want you. Kind of means they have respect for you. You know what I mean? And they have respect for the connection. You know, like I said, this is a lot of, it takes a lot for this person to hold back, but they're doing it for what they believe is the right reasons. You know, they want to know you. They want to share. You know, they see them sharing a life with you. They feel comfortable with you. You know, they feel like this could be everything they wanted. So they don't want to screw it up. You know, it's kind of like when you go, if you ever remember being in school and you had those tests where it was like an ABC answer and like there was like 100 questions, and some people would just go in and just do some kind of stupid pattern just to get it over with. This person is reading the questions, thinking about the answers, you know. They want to go to college, or they want something more of their life. They don't want to fail. But like I said, their instinct is to grab hold and never let go. But but they're fighting that urge. They don't want to do something they're going to regret. They don't want to have regrets when it comes to you. Anyway, that's what I have for you. You know, it does remind me. That's the end of the read. For anybody that's just here for the read, I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. For the people that don't mind my stories, I remember a friend of mine. He hooked up with this girl at a party one night, and he said before they hooked up, it was like they were just sitting there, and he said I just felt so comfortable with her, and we were talking about everything under the sun. He said we had this really good connection, and he said that, you know, then we started having some drinks together, and we ended up hooking up, and he said then it made it really awkward. He said because I didn't know her name, I didn't get her number. And he said we had this incredible connection. He said even the intimacy, even the physical act, he said it was just incredible. He just, you know, like she really rocked his world. And he said all I could think about is I want more. And it took him almost 6 months to find her again. Like he was like really desperate to find her again, because he went through like almost everybody at the party figured out who she was and who knew her, and you know, and it took him almost 6 months to find her. And by the time he found her, she was with someone else, but they stayed in contact. They were friends for a while. Finally, her and her boyfriend broke up, so he took his shot. And they've been married for 11 years. So it was a happy ending, but he always says, because I wish I would have done things differently. He said, because even when they became friends again at the beginning, she just thought he was coming for looking for a quick piece. And because he didn't contact her, apparently she gave him the number. Apparently he lost it somehow, so she just thought he was just hit it and quit it, you know what I mean? So when he came back around, he really had to convince her that that's not what he was about. And like he said, I wish I'd never done it. I wish I never slept with her, you know, in the beginning, because he said it, or at least lost her number, I guess. But I feel like when it's meant to be, you know, the universe will step in and give you a second chance. But like he said, he goes, that was 6 months and she was with someone else, and she could have been with me. You know, we could have been together even, 6 months longer. But, it's the world works the way it works. But I always, when he tells me the story, when he told me the story, I was like, well, what if you didn't hook up? Would you still be thinking about her? You know, all those things happen for a reason. We just don't know. Unfortunately, we don't have the angle to see the big picture. You know, what if he didn't even meet her? What if, So you can't really take it back. He said, I wish I didn't hook up with her. I said, well, if you didn't hook up with her, how would you have not hooked up with her? Would you have not gone to the party? Would you have not talked to her when she talked to you? Like, what would you have done differently? He said, you're right, which I like hearing. In a perfect world, we do it perfectly. We court, we date, we get to know each other, we have a friendship, we romance, you know what I mean? Like, in a perfect world, it all unfolds just like, some Shakespearean play. But actually, Shakespeare is probably not a good example, because his plays are pretty dark. You know what I mean? Be good. Take care. Stay safe.